library pulling out books. What do they say? This book is actually alive. It bit off one of my fingers. I'm in an ambulance. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm starting to...
So a book bit off your finger?
Yeah, well, that's the story. A lot of songs have stories, Jess. And also those have been the lyrics of that song the whole time, the year and a half or so that we've been doing this podcast. Those have always been the lyrics, much like Star Trek, the original series.
The Gene Roddenberry. Yeah, you got to write those lyrics so you get that sweet publishing cash. Which is, you're always you always say to me, it's like if I model my career on one person, it's Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah,
and here we are again. The great bird of the galaxy has taken light here on Quest, the adventure game podcast.
How you doing, Jess?
I am doing pretty well, Ben. How are you?
I'm pretty good. But you know what? And I think this has happened before other podcasts. Like, I think this has been a subject of our nonsense chatter.
Before
we
that the listeners love.
That, you know what? I was looking. Some listeners do love it.
Wow, there you go.
But I think I ate too much of my dinner because I was having leftovers, which I know your feelings about leftovers.
We don't need to rehash that, but especially if it's hash.
Yeah. And there wasn't enough for a full other meal. And so I was like, well, I have to eat all the rest of this because I'm just not this is dinner. I'm not going to snack on this pasta and a cauliflower sauce that I made. So I'm just going to eat all of it.
Yeah.
And now my tummy hurts.
Yeah, I'm coming into the podcast tonight with a bad case of burrito belly. We have
we're really hitting
this is bad.
Hitting
this
the
is
classics.
Bad. Yeah, I mean, we've got a new burrito place here in town, and it's fabulous.
New burrito place in town.
It's opened by our James Beard award-winning chef that works out of Charleston. This is his quick service burrito experience, and I have to tell you, it's a good burrito.
Let's look this up. Let's look at the menu. What's the name of this place?
Bad Happy Burrito.
Bad Happy Burrito. Not a huge fan of the name, but
no, it's a little tough. It has some nice branding. They have like a guy logo that kind of looks like the dude on the front
of
the Hitchhiker's Guide
to the Galaxy with little devil horns.
Yeah, that's exactly what they've got going on.
They're now hiring.
Ooh, that's not bad.
All right, so let's take a look here. Burrito, all right. Scroll.
And listeners, don't dox me with this.
I'm gonna say that the list here is if you go to this website, there isn't it just drives you to either fill out an application to work there or order online, and order online so you see a menu, but the menu is not particularly descriptive.
No, it isn't. It doesn't do it justice.
There's cluck and roll, but I don't know what's in that. It could be any poultry.
Let me tell you where they really mess up, Ben. It's wonderful. First of all, they say it's wonderful. It's maybe one of the best burritos I've ever eaten. Highest praise.
All right.
But they have silly names for a lot
Everything
of their
has a silly
components
name
that aren't always described in the menu. Like
shrimp
even if you're
shady.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, they have something called Oscar rice and money rice. Okay. But they don't differentiate anywhere on the menu what that is. They have good ass beans, which are simply pinto beans, but they call them good ass beans.
Well, are they?
I mean, they're just pinto beans, crazy corn, happy slaw, red O's. I don't know.
All right, well, going on their Facebook page, that provides an actual menu.
Okay, now you're working with it.
So here we go. The cluck and roll burrito, chicken, Oscar rice. We don't know what that means. Good ass beans, ass with a at symbol.
Yeah.
Cheese, salsa roja, cilantro lime crema, always good. Guac, which it just doesn't have a silly name for its guac other than just guac.
It's guac. It's just guac.
Diced onions and cilantro, perfectly fine. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, really under. So the sides, I don't care for this. They're called side pieces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Don't love it either. Wait until you see what the drinks are called. A few pages later.
Okay. No.
This really bothers me.
Drinks.
Drinks with 3 A's in the middle. Drinks. And then you have boozy drinks beyond that. Yeah, I mean, these parts aren't good, but I'm telling you, the burrito, flawless. Flawless burrito.
You know, it's just one of those things. You can Yuka and do. Here's the thing. You could just do you can.
Yes, you
just
don't need
add an N. You don't have to. So this is how. This is to explain to the listener. This is how it's spelled. The Yuka and do it. Wait. YUCA hyphen AN. No, we don't need the hyphen AN. Like it doesn't have confidence in the pun there. Yuka and do it. You can do it. Just make it you can do it. Don't have the hyphen.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, and I assume that's supposed to be like the Rob Schneider Happy Gilmore reference, right? Like the you
can do it.
Yeah. And that's actually, I order that, only I substitute the yuca fries for chicken. So I'm doing like chicken, money rice.
Well, I gotta say, this is the best looking one for sure.
Yeah.
Yuca fries, which have you ever had a San Diego or a California burrito that has fries in it? Because those are good.
I have. Yeah. Sometimes yuca fries, I think, especially if you're in a place maybe where there isn't a lot of yuca fries flowing in and out of the economy, can be a little starchy for me.
No, I mean they're always it's a very starchy. So yuca fries, or you can substitute with chicken. Money rice, which I don't know what that is. Good ass beans, queso. So interesting. Queso, comma, cheese.
Yes. You know.
So we've got queso and cheese.
Yes.
Happy slaw, pico, pickled red O's.
Mm-hmm.
Pickled jalapenos, which I will not.
Yeah. Don't care for that either.
Don't care for that.
It's abbreviated in a way I would choose not to.
Yeah. Look this up yourself. We're not cactus. That's fun.
Love
Habanero hot honey and charred poblano ranch. This sounds great.
It's really good, Ben. We gotta get you here. I'll take you to Bad Happy Burrito. I'll show you the mountains of West Virginia.
Here's what I'll say to you is that these prices are comparable to prices that I would have in the big city of Chicago, Illinois that I live in.
Yes.
So for this to be like West Virginia prices, like this has to be absurd, right? Like these are $14 burritos.
Don't make it look like I'm Mr. Moneybags over here, Ben.
I know that you're the richest man in town and you live in a mansion.
I do, and I have a yacht. But I don't like to broadcast that because I like to think of myself as a man of the people. But I will say, let me give this. When I was recently in a different big city, when I was in New York City, I was bowled over by how inexpensive things seemed comparatively to what I expected. I think food prices in the heartland, in the flyover states, have simply increased to close the gap with big city food prices. I was just like, I can eat for the same price in New York City that I can in West Virginia, and there's no way that should be possible.
That doesn't seem right. What I will say is that the cost of drinks is less.
I'm sorry,
Like,
cost of what?
drinks.
There you go. I wasn't sure what you were talking about for a second.
Yeah. We've got like the a frozen espresso martini. That's $9. Not bad. Margarita on the rocks for the same price. You have a bunch of $5 drafts, which, I mean, a Modelo $5 draft, which is the best beer they have available there. Which I also believe is the best selling beer in Chicago. Modelo.
No.
Modelo's not bad. I fuck with Modelo.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so did you get any side pieces?
Any side pieces? I did not. We did get an order of churros for dessert. And let me tell you, I dislike more churros than I enjoy. I eat a fair number of churros, and most of the time I'm disappointed in churros.
Yeah.
Outside of one churro that I had in San Antonio a couple of years ago from just like a street side vendor with a deep fryer. That's how you get churros. Yeah. These are probably the best churros I've had other than that. Very good churros. You have to go to West Virginia to get good churros.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
I have to. There is a place not too far from me that makes that is quite proud of their churros. I should try out, see if they're as good as the West Virginia ones I hear so much about. Here's a question.
Everyone, if you're driving through West Virginia, go to Bad Happy Burrito.
Here's a question. Under to share ellipsy maybe. What is on a Frisbee?
They literally serve your food on a branded Frisbee with their logo on it. So the Frisbee serves as your plate, and you get to keep it afterwards and take it home.
You get to keep the Frisbee. I see. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, the first time we went, my daughter ordered her meal on a Frisbee, and now we have a Bad Happy Burrito Frisbee.
It's got the little knockoff.
I mean,
Hitchhiker's Guide guy.
Yeah. I mean, the way he is styled inside the restaurant is as a graffiti tag. Like all the walls are decorated in graffiti, and there's there's some vague hip hop references in a lot of the. It's not consistent though, which is what bothers me. Like they have the De La Burrito Bowl, which is a De La Soul joke, but again, putting burrito in there ruins it. It should just be the De La Bowl to make that read as De La Soul. Big Papa, obviously, you got some hip hop. A Tribe Called Queso isn't too bad. Although it sounds like something you come up with on a comedy show if you're trying to come up with wacky names for food.
It feels a little.
It's a little forced.
Hey, they added on their Instagram, they've added a glossary. Here's what Oscar rice is.
Thank you, Ben. I need to know this.
Oscar rice is Latin seasoned rice cooked in chicken stock with onions and bell peppers.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then money rice is cilantro lime rice, vegan. Good ass beans, just good ass black beans, vegan.
Oh, I thought
Crazy
they were
corn is
pintos.
elotes. So street corn off the cob mixed with diced onions, jalapeno, etc.
Happy
and then they also explain what a pupusa is, which you should know. We don't need to have it.
Yeah. That's one of the stages of a caterpillar's metamorphosis into a butterfly.
Damn. I would love to have a papusa right now. Oh. Yeah, I like a fucking
good papusa.
And it's fun to say. It's fun to say papusa.
Papusa.
Have you had a papusa?
I haven't.
Have you had their? Oh, so you haven't. You should have their papusas. Give it a try.
Back.
Report back. We gotta report back here. Let's see. They're posting some stuff like just yesterday. So I'm trying to think. Have I had any interesting meals of note? As I said, I made bangers and mash last night. Which is fun. And made a gravy out of some like a beer based gravy for it. It's quite good. But I'm trying to think, did I have any interesting meals out uh recently? And I can't think of anything particularly of distinction
That's a
lately.
shame.
Um I feel like I'm coming towards the end of pizza making season, and I feel like I haven't made enough pizzas because I have a pizza steal, as I
Hmm.
believe I've said. And you have to get the like you have to heat your like it's a slab of steel that you put in your oven that you heat up to like the maximum heat, and
Maximum
then you
heat.
throw the pizza on top of it for
Yes.
like 7 minutes, and then you pull it
Hmm.
out and you have a perfect pizza. But that's a wintertime thing. That's for the winter. You are not turning your oven up to 550
No, not if you can help it.
like when it's an 80
Mhm.
degree day, you know?
We
And
used to take a pizza stone outside with our grill, and
ooh,
occasionally
grilled
we just
pizza.
close the lid over the handle of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pizza stone, and it could get nice and hot,
Yeah.
and it worked well in the summer at a time when, as you said, you don't want to be pulling, you know, 550-degree pizzas in and out of ovens on
Are
a hot
you
day.
I know you don't cook that much, right?
Not a lot.
Um but are you a grillman?
I have been in the past. I don't currently have a grill.
You don't
We had
currently have
one
a grill.
that, and this was Ben. This is one of my favorite things I've ever
Uh-huh.
done in my life.
Okay.
We had a propane grill.
Yeah.
Ben, propane and propane accessories.
That's very good.
But
Have I told you about how sometimes like I've seen this shirt at like some like pride events where like I've seen like you know guys into BDSM wearing a t-shirt that has a drawing of Hank Hill in like full leather regalia, and it says pro pain.
that's pretty good.
It's a
That's
really
pretty good.
good.
That's a good
It's a
shirt.
really good shirt. It's just one of those shirts where I'm like, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. It's just like, like I'm wearing this shirt, but I just appreciate
I
the
just
joke of
appreciate the
this.
shirt. Yeah,
Don't,
no.
leave the whips at home, please. Like,
Yeah. But no, I had this propane grill that, like all of those, eventually began to rust out pretty badly. Even with the cover, you just can't leave them outside year round without them starting to rust. So it eventually got rusty enough that one day I went out with a pair of gloves and a long sleeve shirt on, and I began to fold the metal into a ball. It was so flimsy and
whoa,
so
you're so
rusted
cool.
until eventually I just had like a wad of metal that used to be
Whoa.
my grill, and I took it out and I put it in their garbage for the garbage guy to take away. And I was just like, I felt like I was Superman. I was just like
That is
bending rusty
pretty
aluminum.
cool.
Yeah, it felt really cool. Like I noticed it was very pliable. I'm like, I'm going to go get some safety equipment and do something cool that could give me tetanus.
Yeah, but you know what? Nothing good in this life is without a risk of tetanus.
That's what I always say.
I've always said that. I've been saying
You're
that
saying
my
that
whole
you were saying
life.
that before we started recording tonight.
Yeah. Like, and I've been chewing on these rusty nails. They give me power.
That's right.
Now, speaking of power, Jess, now you're playing with power. What have you been playing?
Oh my goodness, Ben. What have I been playing?
Yeah.
The last couple of days, for some reason, we have a small little arcade set up in our media room upstairs that my daughter claims is her own. So we have a couple of one-up cabinets and some stuff like that set up. One of them is a one-up cabinet with a number of Marvel and Capcom games on it. Now, it doesn't have Marvel versus Capcom, the one you would want, but it does have some other games. And I have been I've just been kind of going up there and hanging out lately and playing a little bit of X-Men Children of the Atom. I don't know if you ever did any fighting game Children of the Atom, but it's a Street Fighter clone with X-Men characters. It's sort of the precursor to X-Men versus Street Fighter, which is the precursor to Marvel versus Capcom. It's the beginning at some level of that whole series, but it's just a classic 2D Capcom fighter with a quasi-random lineup of characters. You've got obviously like your Wolverines and your Storms and your Cyclopses and Magnetos, but also you've got like a Mega Red, who I guess was big in the 90s when this came out. You know, Spiral, the sixth armed servant of the irrational being Mojo. Silver Samurai is an odd one. But I've been playing a lot of Psylocke. She's a flippy ninja who can do like Chun-Li flip off the edge of the screen type moves. It's pretty fun. It's one that I spent a lot of quarters on when it was in arcades and never got good at it. There is something to be said for playing it in your own home and just being able to endlessly hit continue.
Yeah, push the add quarter button on the side of your little mini cab.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been playing that. You know, it's fun. I wish I was better at fighting games. It's actually an area where I've poured so much time into fighting games. Like, I'm sorry, Malcolm Gladwell, I may be at 10,000 hours and I am no better than I started out.
Wow, I can't believe that Malcolm Gladwell was wrong about something.
We should get him on the podcast.
Yeah, we should get him on the podcast and confront him.
Yes, finally. It'll be one of our classic gotcha episodes.
We you know, last week when we had Julia on and we finally gotcha her.
That's right. Yeah, when we asked her, can you name all 16 colors in the EGA palette, and she did it. But then we were like, well, how about VGA? And she stumbled. Yeah. That's when we knew we had her.
Now, so, do you ever, like, I know these are little, like, mini cabs. Were you able to, like, can you play this 2P? And if so, do you play it with your daughter?
Yes, I have played it 2-player with my daughter. And honestly, at this point, her just randomly button mashing and me using 30 plus years of fighting game experience evens out. It's kind of like a fair match at that point. I will say, curiously, when we first got this thing, my dad played a few matches against her, and I think it is literally the first time my dad has ever played a video game. Which, like, literally any video game.
That's amazing.
Which it's a wild way to jump in, right? It's like, I think I'll just go straight to, you know, he was hanging out, he and my mom in a lot of bars during the Pong, Pac-Man era of the world, but he saved it for a one-up cabinet of X-Men Children of the Atom, probably because, you know, he just wanted to hang out with his granddaughter, you know, more so than he didn't want to play a video game. So yeah, I mean, it's a transformative arcade cabinet. It's played an important role.
What other one-ups? What you said there's a couple. What games you got there?
We have a Galaga one-up, and we have The Simpsons.
Okay.
Simpsons is wonderful. I mean, it also has Simpsons bowling with a trackball built into it, and that's like fun in that way that dumb bowling games are always kind of fun.
I remember when that game came out.
Yeah.
I remember playing that at the arcade.
Yeah, but I love the 4-player Simpsons. It's such a fun, wonderful side scroller. You know, can't complain about that.
Have you tried to like add other like? They're probably like just running MAME, right? Like it's like is it like a red? Like I don't know anything about the construction of these. Like are these just like Raspberry Pis?
I think it's a Raspberry Pi and a big bunch of plywood with a screen attached to it. I mean, I think it's super easy to ROM hack these things and just put every game that's ever existed on any one of them. Because
here's the thing about like. Because I'm intrigued. So you have a cabinet that has a trackball. So you should add some, because it's like, you know, I know you have like an Anbernic and like other means of emulating stuff, but you know, like Marble Madness is never going to play quite as well. Crystal Castles is never going to play quite as well if you're playing with an analog stick.
No, absolutely no. And I mean, also the fact that the Simpsons cabinet is actually 4 players. I mean, that opens up a world of possibility for
throw the X-Men.
I should throw the X-Men because I do love
the
Konami X-Men game.
Yeah. You know what I would like to have something with. I was actually posting about this earlier today. I would love to have something with like a paddle control, like the little like twisty like thing that they used for Pong and everything else. Because I want to play like Arkanoid. Like you can't play Arkanoid without a paddle.
You gotta have a paddle.
You gotta have a paddle.
You gotta have a paddle for Arkanoid.
Like Arkanoid, and my favorite ball and paddle game is Warlords. I love Warlords. Warlords, if you're unfamiliar, is the competitive Pong game that's 4 players.
Doubles.
No, like you're
Top, bottom, left, right?
You know Warlords.
No, I actually
right?
don't know Warlords.
You don't know Warlords?
I don't know Warlords.
Like you have like a corner, like you each have a corner of the screen, and you have like a protective wall.
Gotcha.
So the ball is bouncing, and so it can get past you and just bounce off the wall. But if it hits again, and then you can also catch it and turn the ball into like a fireball or something and throw it back at people. There was both a really good like arcade version, but it was pretty good on the 2600. I remember playing it against my siblings on the 2600 back then. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to have like if you have cabinets with stuff that it's like, well, I can emulate this on my computer in some way, but I have a
pressure keys aren't the way to do that. Yeah, I mean, you want, that's absolutely right. No, I think that's how you gotta approach it.
Do you have something with a bike handle control?
No, unfortunately, I don't. No, I mean, and I don't have anything like with a dance pad either. So yeah, there are some limitations to what I can pull off. But how fun would it be to have like DDR? That's what I need to figure out. I'll hook up a Nintendo Power Pad.
Yeah.
To Raspberry Pi. I'm sure if I was going on Reddit, someone's got the instructions for me how to do this. We'll make it happen. But Ben, before we start talking about modding out my 1UP arcade cabinets, I have to know, what have you been playing?
Jess, I have been playing this game called Vampire Crawlers. Vampire Crawlers is the card variant of the Auto Battler mega hit Vampire Survivors, which is a really fun game in itself. And Vampire Crawlers is a game that takes, so like Vampire Survivors, if you are unfamiliar, it is a game where you walk around as a little guy or a little gal or whatever, and you're just auto shooting. Like your guy just auto shoots, and the monsters that you kill drop XP. When you get enough XP, you get new weapons, or you can level up your weapons, and then eventually over the course of the game, you become unbelievably powerful, and like it's just that you're wandering around and your little guy is automatically shooting, and it's kind of like Lizard Braid fun. It's very like low impact, and it started a whole genre, right? Vampire Crawlers somehow manages to translate the ethos of Vampire Survivors quite well into a card game, in that it's not particularly hard, it's not particularly complex, and it pushes lizard buttons in your brain.
Gotcha.
Like, it is all about making the number go up. Like, it is not an idle game, but it's not a game that really requires too much thought on your part.
I'm looking at the trailer, and I would describe this aesthetic as sitting somewhere like at the crossroads of like a PS1 era Minecraft somehow. Like, I don't know if
Yeah, it
that's
has
accurate,
big
but
chunky pixel graphics, which look really great. I love
it looks fantastic. Yeah,
the look of it is really good. It is. Here's the thing. It is a game that I will probably play a fair amount more of, but this isn't a game that really is, makes use of my brain or anything. It's the same thing I said months ago when I was talking about Ball X Pit. It's like, this game is not spiritually fulfilling.
Wow. Take that, vampire crawlers.
It is just completely empty calories of a game. And sometimes that's what I want.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want a game that I'm barely paying attention to. Well, it is hardcore second screen. It is, you have a 5-hour YouTube essay on, and somebody's talking about the origin of ovens, and you're like, oh, this seems interesting. I want to learn about the first oven. And then you put on Vampire Crawlers, a game that requires less than 1% of your brain.
That's perfect. That's mostly what I'm looking for out of any gaming experience these days.
Sometimes you just want that shit. Sometimes it's just, and it looks good and it feels good, and you just play it and you're just like, yeah, all right.
This is good.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's fine. Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
It's it's
Give
fine.
it.
It's, it's, you can play it or you don't play it. I don't give a shit. It's not that expensive.
Yeah. Ben's not trying to tell you how to live your life.
Listen, I recommend this if you're looking for a game that is not spiritually fulfilling. And
Ben, I'm just curious, if you had to recommend a game that was spiritually fulfilling for our listeners who are looking for that experience, what would you lump into that category?
Oh, Super Noah's Ark 3D for the SNES.
There you go. Yeah. That game saved a lot of souls, Ben. You can laugh about it all you want to, but I bet the number of people who converted after playing that.
Just sometimes I play a game and these a lot of this shit, they're just fucking games, Sometimes it's just a fucking game. Sometimes it's just Pac-Man. I'm not ascending. I'm not ascending when I play Pac-Man. But
Miss Pac-Man?
Oh, I'm ascending. Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures, you bet I'm ascending.
That is almost transcendental. As you're playing Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures, which we should do an episode on since it's an adventure game sometime. When you're playing that one, your soul does leave your body after a certain period of time, which I think is a spiritual experience. And I think if you made it to the end, it may not make itself back from the nether realm. I think that probably is. I think anyone who's ever finished that game has probably died.
Yeah, no one living has ever finished that game.
Yeah, which makes for a really tough category on YouTube to try to watch long plays of.
Yeah.
It's just sad that they all end in tragedy.
Yeah, the speed runs, they're all are really terrible. It's actually one of the worst games done quick marathons that's ever happened.
I can't believe they keep doing it, but people tune in.
People love it. Well, you know what they say, because the crowd always they during GDQs they're always cheering something. When it's Pac-Man 2, they're just chanting ominously, blood, 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 blood. And then when that
that's the weird thing.
When that person completes the game, the blood starts coming out of their eyeballs, and then they just keel over. Their whole skin gone pale, and then everybody just cheers and they go, blood, blood, blood. And you know what? And that's how they make their goals. So
yeah. And they do a lot of good with that money they raise.
Charity. So get off my ass if you think it's bad.
Yeah. I don't know what dark magics they put in that cartridge, but the fact of the matter is, We are cursed
Blood.
as a people to play it.
Blood.
And once the bloodlust begins, the cartridge must be fed. It must be sated.
Yeah. Yeah. You just pick up your Genesis and you hold it over the blood and it just like vacuums it up.
Mhm.
And you open up
Now,
the
that does
Genesis
void
and
the
you don't
warranty.
see it in there.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
Yeah.
One of the grand mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'd like to see you do that with your
What?
Wii U.
Today on Quest Quest, we have one of our theme weeks. Having spoken about games for like specific games for a while. I mean, last week was a theme. So you know what? I take it all back.
Yeah, Ben, way to go.
But yes, we have one of our theme weeks. What is it this week, Jess?
Well, Ben, I thought it might be fun. We talk a lot about older games on here, and we mix in some talk of new games as well. But I thought it might be fun to talk about some games that we think either need a remake, a reboot, or some kind of retrospective. So that's going to be the theme this episode: remake, reboot, or retrospective. And we should probably explain what we mean by each of those terms as a starting point.
Yeah, let's use let's So for a remake, a remaster, I would say let's provide examples if we can. So like a remake, remaster, something like that. Like it's like the Secret of Monkey Island 1 and 2. The Grim
Gabriel Knight
Fandango,
20th anniversary.
Yeah. I wrote down Leisure Suit Larry won multiple times, missed a million times.
Yeah.
A remake, a remaster that is taking the original game and maintaining the core gameplay and narrative and all of that, and then updating the graphics, the sound, like all the aesthetics, and
the quality of life. Yeah, those sorts of things. Modern OS compatibility.
Yeah. And sometimes also like they might make they might modify the game in some mild ways,
Gabriel Knight added the sliding tile puzzles in their 20th anniversary, but at the end of the day, the original game was still the core text there. This was the original game with a couple of added puzzles on top of that were a small part of the larger presentation.
Or the Broken Sword one remake that they made like the goat puzzle a little easier, I guess. I don't know. Did they?
Yeah, little quality of life things like that. But yeah, you're still talking about basically the same game. Now, a reboot is
it's about Bob, who's a guardian, and he's friends with Dot Matrix and her little brother Enzo. They all live in Mainframe.
Yes.
And as a guardian, Bob defends Mainframe by interfacing with the games that the all powerful user constantly drops on Mainframe, and gets into all sorts of crazy scrapes.
Was this the inspiration for Tron?
Yeah. Reboot created Tron. That's right.
Wow. Because it sounds a lot alike, only maybe a little more kid oriented. Tron's a serious film for adults with Jared Leto.
Yeah. I kept saying Leto the light in, and they did.
Did you watch that Tron movie?
No, I haven't seen any fucking Tron movie.
I got 10 minutes into that and slept the remainder of the film, and it was very restful. 4 stars.
Ah! I've seen the original when I was 16, when I had a 102 fever and I was in and out. And so that's my one viewing of Tron is also 10 minutes albeit kind of up and down.
Yeah.
But a reboot, what is
Tron's
actually a reboot?
yeah, Tron's actually, I think, maybe a good point comparison. I think that it kind of treads that fine line between reboot and maybe something closer to a legacy sequel. I think because some of the continuity of the original is still in place there, but certainly reimagining what the series is all about. And yeah, with a reboot, usually we're going to reimagine in some way, like the premise, the tone, the continuity, maybe try to aim at a different audience. You're keeping some characters, some themes, a setting, but maybe not trying to recreate exactly what came before.
So, like, say the 2015 King's Quests.
I think that's a perfect example where you've changed up the genre. You're not beholden to the old continuity. You're using familiar concepts in new ways. Yeah, I think that for adventure games is maybe the very definition of a reboot. I think it really captures that better than anything else I can think of. I would argue maybe too the recent Leisure Suit Larry games.
That was I had that written down. I
Yeah,
wrote like my little note here is Leisure Suit Larry always feels like it's in a state of reboot. Like,
yes.
because
I mean, again, that one's
yeah.
sort of legacy sequel, sort of reboot, and this is Wet Dreams Don't Die and or Don't Dry. I'm sorry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry. What a title. It doesn't necessarily abandon the continuity, but it introduces this new twist of what if Larry were basically unfrozen Austin Powers style here in the modern era of dating apps and things like that. But at least it's still a point and click adventure game. I mean, it's one part reboot, one part legacy sequel. I feel like King's Quest 2015 is
straight
much
up
more clearly a reboot. Yeah.
And then Retrospective, which I don't know if they've ever like, is there like the Lucas remakes, those all have commentary, but I still would those are not retrospectives. I can't think of an adventure game that has a retrospective, but what I would say, like, use as an example of a retrospective is any of the, like, I talk a lot about how much I enjoy like the Digital Eclipse Goldmaster. So like what they did with Atari 50, or more recently like their Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, where they are the retrospectives are like, it contains the game and it contains the original game. The way that Digital Eclipse does it is typically it will contain a bunch of games, and then often they'll
some weird versions in a lot of cases, right?
Yeah, and then often they'll throw in a like kind of a lightweight modern update version, like, so for like the Jeff Minter collection, they threw in a like a kind of modern looking version of Grid Runner. But the real appeal of the retrospectives is that like in the Digital Eclipse way, is that they make them as like kind of museum pieces. It has a linear like a path that you follow. You see like design notes. There's little bits of writing that they use like with quotes and stuff like that, or bits of context. They'll
Interview
have
footage,
like
yeah.
photos and stuff like that, advertisements, and then often, or actually for all of them, they manage to get some of the people involved in making the games on camera to talk about making the games. And it's always a really interesting and handsome package, even if it's like games that I don't even particularly care about.
Yeah, no, and I love that approach. I was trying to think if there were examples from adventure gaming, and I came up a little bit empty as well. Like, I think back to something like the lost treasures of Infocom that tried to do this in a very limited way in an era of physical media where they at least brought together, all of these old Infocom games into a couple of different collections and then assembled like a giant manual that had all of like reproductions of all the fillies and everything like that. But they're still basically like
It's not
photocopies of these old fillies.
that's
It's not quite the same. It's not like
no,
not the
and
level of Digital Eclipse is doing things. I mean, you
no.
have other collections from other companies. I mean, they even tried to make gestures in this direction with things like the King's Quest and Space Quest collections. But it is when we're thinking here a retrospective, we want something more. We want to know the whole story
Yeah.
of these games with rare, hard to find bits of ephemera. And when we set out to talk about this, our idea was it's like, yeah, if we had to pick some games
Mhm.
that we would like to see remade, that we might like to see series that were rebooted altogether,
Mhm.
or a game series that we think or the work of a particular creator that we think would benefit from this kind of retrospective.
So I actually have a question for you, Jess.
Yeah,
How do you feel
great.
about oh good. Um but and then my next question is how do you feel about uh remake remasters in general? Because a lot of them are kind of unnecessary, right? Like, I mean, they are a lot of them are necessary to like it's like, all right, well, now you can play it without having like now someone could just open up Steam or the PlayStation Store
Mhm.
or whatever
Yeah.
and like just click a button and they have it versus
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you have to open up DOSBox or something and mess around a little bit.
Yeah, and I think
But
for people like us who are used to doing that sort
yeah.
of stuff, who are comfortable with Scum VM, in a lot of cases, a lot of these remakes feel a little inessential. It's like I can play Day of the Tentacle right now with its gorgeous original pixel graphics. It's great that the remaster exists out there, and it's a beautifully done version of a remaster, but isn't quite essential to me. Yeah, and I wouldn't. In some cases, I don't care for choices made with some of these remakes. I think that boy, I'm of two minds about Monkey Island Special Edition 1 and 2 in the sense of I kind of hate what it did with the game graphically, especially the first game. I think it
Yeah, and
looks
I
really
think
terrible.
here's my hot take is I actually don't mind. Like
I mean, I don't,
everybody
it's a
hates
downgrade. I don't hate, yeah,
the well yeah, but you
yeah,
know what the canonical Monkey Island it's the VGA one and real sickos who've been listening to our podcast know that we prefer the EGA 16
that's
color
right.
original.
But,
But
it's hard to be mad at
yeah.
those because you get friend of the pod,
Yeah.
Dominic Armado's.
Wait, he was in games?
She oh, Ben. Um, but I mean, his performance as Guybrush makes those completely essential at some level. I mean, it's wonderful. But
This is
I
let me say one thing about those though. And this is absolutely no slight on Dominic or any of that because especially on like if I recall for the Secret, I don't remember quite who the cast is for the second one, but for Secret of Monkey Island, the voice cast like is like it has some real like I think what Rob Paulson doing a lot of voices
mhm,
too. He's such a talented voice actor. He's like just a guy that has like a funny voice, right?
yeah,
Um, like it has a lot of really wonderful voice talent. They all do a great job, but I always had the thought with both of those games is that you can kind of tell that they are not written to be read.
yes,
And so it's like you hear like the and to be clear, when I go back and revisit them, I usually have those voices on because I love the voice performances.
yeah, of course.
But uh even those which are the best like inarguably the best part of those
Mhm,
remakes, I'm kind of like these lines were not like it's like you play Curse of Monkey Island, you play Escape, et cetera, like that they're writing these lines to be read, and
Yes.
like I don't know
The
if they wrote.
timing and everything
Yeah,
oftentimes is driven by the idea of text progressing on the screen. And yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, I do think that's part of the built-in appeal. Can you think of a remake that you enjoy
yeah, I
more
got
than the
one right.
original?
Yeah, Quest for Glory
Well,
1.
okay, yeah, yeah. That's the
That's
correct
just,
answer. That's a
this is
good
why
one.
I'm so thoroughly on the record of
Yeah,
that. But
obviously, yeah. That one's
like, m-
Colossal Cave Adventure.
I mean, honestly, I thought the
Yeah,
Colossal
yeah,
Cave remake, especially having played it in VR, which is what it was
hmm,
initially designed
yeah.
for. Like, I thought that you know there was a lot of like kind of, at least in the corners that I was in, a lot of skepticism towards it. And when I finally played the Colossal Cave remake and I did it in my like VR headset, I was like, you
Hmm.
know what, this makes a pretty good argument for itself. I was charmed.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
thought it was very interesting and
I
charming.
haven't played it myself, but everyone I watch stream it, like I thought it had pretty good vibes. Yeah, I'm not mad at that one.
Yeah.
But Ben, if you had to think of a game that you would remaster or remake,
Hmm.
what are some of your picks? What are some of the ones that sprung to mind for you? Games
Yeah.
that need that fresh coat of paint on them.
You know what might, you know, because again, this is hard because like, you
Which
know,
classic work are you going to
yeah,
destroy?
what game, like especially with adventure games, it's like they all like, in that moment, I love how so many game, like there's not a game I look at and I go, oh, you know what, this like an adventure game, certainly like from like the early 90s, that I look at and go like, oh, this really needs, this really needs to
Hmm.
be done again. I thought, what might be interesting, what might be kind of fun, if somebody did it, was Conquest of the Longbow. I was just like, you know what, that might be kind of fun if somebody did that.
I could see that being a game that might actually translate to new audiences too, because I feel like that's part of the appeal of a remake, right? It's not because all the old heads are
Are going to
happy
be like the
playing
originals
their
better.
scum VM version. You know,
Yeah.
they're fine with what they have. But at some level, you hope a remake or a remaster, presumably, will now allow you to reach a new audience. And I do think among Sierra games that Conquest of the Longbow is one that could find a new audience without having to be overhauled at a core level that would be a full on reboot situation.
Yeah, it'd probably be, if you were to remake Conquest of the Longbow, it, you'd probably just by default, not even intentionally, you'd probably make it easier because a lot of it, like it has a lot of the copy protection stuff, so you'd strip that out, and then
Hmm.
like so that would just kind of make it easier by default. Get rid of like some of the, just kind of like, you'd streamline some of the wandering around the woods stuff.
Yeah.
Um
Try to play up the I think the cozy hang of it
yeah.
over the really like gamey parts of it.
And then it's like, if you want to, you can make the arcade like sequence stuff in
Hmm.
it, which is pretty lousy uh in the original. Like you could, if you want to, like kind of beef that up a little bit, still with the option to skip. Um and like I also think that like it's, probably would have to do a pass on the dialogue, but I mean, Christy Marks wrote for television,
That's right.
and
And I think
so
it's going to
the
be ready to
dialogue's excellent.
voice. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I think so too. I think that's a good pick. I like that one
Yeah.
a lot. Some of the ones I thought of, like part of me, like again, this is so inessential, and this is the problem I think with so many of these remasters. Part of me, on principle, kind of feels like it's a shame we haven't gotten a Curse of Monkey Island remaster to go along with the Day of the Tentacle and the Full Throttle. But then again, it's like I don't know if you're going to make that game look better. It already looks perfect. You're going to open it up to an audience that's never played it before, potentially. And I think there are people out there that would love it that
Yeah.
maybe haven't played it.
If
But
you make like the controls that you can play it with a gamepad.
yeah, that
Yeah.
would have some appeal. But again, I don't know if that one needs to exist. And then, like, I thought like Sicko Pick that would not reach any audience, but I would kind of love the thought of it is Gabriel Knight 3. I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah,
That's a
but
great pick.
I think it has the chance to really benefit from a remake remaster that really
Do it in
thinks about
2D.
quality of life. Either do it in 2D or just a better 3D engine, you know,
Yeah,
but
just
keep the
yeah.
core of it. I mean, keep the silly cat hair stuff, whatever. You know, that's all fine. That's part of the charm of the game. Keep Le Serpent Rouge, if you
Yeah, that
insist.
I think that's a
Maybe
really
make the
great pick.
interface a little easier. But again, that's going to reach an audience of just exclusively sickos. It's not going to be the breakout hit that you might want out of something like this. What I settled on as a game that I would really love to see remade or remastered, I would love to see a new pass at The Last Express.
Well, they did do
They did?
they did a pass on the Last Express.
Well, then I'm ahead of the game. Did
Yeah.
they really?
Though
Did I
there was
know
a
that?
Last Express Gold Edition.
There
It
is. When
came
did
out
that come out?
like it, you know,
Oh, well,
it,
that came out in 97.
I swear there was a
Is that
version.
right? No, that's when the original came out. That's what it says on Steam. This is more recent. No, I'm looking at it.
There's a they did, and you own this. They did do a version like that kind of cleaned it up, and maybe it was this Gold Edition.
Yeah.
Now I'm
No wonder
I'm all
that sounded like
turned
such a good
around.
idea.
Now I'm all turned around. Maybe, but I think there's still more.
2012. It's a 2012 remaster.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what all the remaster did there, but that's one that I feel like, you know, I'd have to look and see. Yeah, again, what I'm reading about the re-release here. Uh, there was a film adaptation planned. Oh my gosh, says Wikipedia. Let's see. The collector's edition includes soundtrack, making of video. Released it with GOG. Yeah, I don't get a lot of details here. Just reading on Wikipedia. So yeah, I should have researched that more carefully. But I do think it's a game that could, with a slick looking. I mean, because looking at the footage of the remaster, it looks a lot like I remember the original. I think that
they didn't
yeah,
they didn't.
without you don't want to lose the original rotoscoped animation.
Yeah,
I mean, that is the appeal.
love
Yeah,
those kind of detail, like, and also the
Yeah.
weird movement, like the low
That's right.
frame rate, like kind of.
yeah.
You know what I would love with, like you said, Curse of Monkey Island, to rewind to that, like, the real dream with Curse, which I don't think, like, if they could do this, they would have. And but also this is true of a bunch of other games, is that it's like, if you're going to remake Curse of Monkey Island, um I I would only truly want it if they found, or they had, the original scanned art and then scanned it at 4K or whatever.
Yes.
And so now you're seeing Puerto Pollo, and it looks as it was originally drawn, instead of squeezed down into 640 by 480 and SVGA graphics. And like that would also be like, that's kind of my I'll fill in just a whole bunch of other remakes and just say, like, anything made with scanned art, wouldn't it be great if we could have a version where, like, I'm thinking about King's Quest 5, right?
King's Quest 5 was exactly what I was about to say. Can you imagine that with like the actual paintings? Because I mean, we've seen some of those paintings through the years in magazines and things like that. That would be absolutely gorgeous. What a charming game that would be.
Like, that's always been kind of my dream with those, is it's like, I don't want I don't want a reinterpretation or something different. It's just like, wouldn't it be great if somebody, like, if Roberto is like, oh, I just opened up this other room, like the closet in the yacht, and I just found a bin with every single piece of art from King's Quest 5. and also a whole bunch of audio tapes so we can hear Josh Mandel like we've never heard him before.
In full, crystal clear. Yeah, no clarity. I mean, there's good news, Ben. While you've been talking about this, I just fired up Claude and created
Whoa!
and I'm just going to go over to Reddit and announce my new game projects that are coming out. Remastered Curse of Monkey Island. No AI. All right, got it. So I'm good to go.
No,
I'm getting a lot of angry responses. Oh no.
If I wanted to
no.
see that, I would go into any Sierra fan group on fucking Facebook.
This looks amazing. Look at this. It's like Roger Wilco came to life.
Oh my god. All right. Do you have anything else on the remake?
Other than the one that's already been remade? No.
Yeah.
That's I think Gabriel. I mean, again, Gabriel Knight 3.
Gabriel
Knight 3,
idea. I think is the best.
Throw money down the toilet and you'll do just as well. But as a sicko, I'd love to see it.
I think Gabriel Knight 3 is the best. Is the best because the interface, I said earlier, it's like all of these look great and they all it's like. I don't like the art in Conquest of the Longbow looks spectacular. I don't want to get rid of that, but it's like I don't like the way that Gabriel Knight 3 looks. I do not like its interface. I do not like, it's just from that ugly duckling era of 3D. It's a fully 3D game. It's not
built in a flight simulator, right? Like, wasn't that the engine?
I do not know.
I believe it's a flight simulator engine. That's why Gabriel swoops through the game and occasionally activates his afterburners.
Yeah. But I like how Quest for Glory 5 even looks, because I have a softness for the pre-rendered backgrounds with ugly
tiny little
chunky graphics running around. Those I like okay.
How wild is it that Sierra developed two separate bad 3D engines?
You can tell that Ken wasn't there anymore, because he would never let that shit happen. It's like Ken, that is absolutely not something that would have happened at Ken Williams's Sierra. I'm sure. So let's move on to reboots.
Reboots.
I have a couple written down, but how about you go first, since I went first?
I wouldn't put this one on my list, but I was thinking about attempts to reboot adventure game series, and as someone who spent a lot of time in his life thinking about Space Quest and the attempt to reboot it a couple of times in different forms, I want to go on record. The idea of rebooting Space Quest as some sort of action platformery game isn't the worst idea I've ever heard. I feel like you could keep a lot of what the appeal of the series is, which is the comedy, the snarkiness, Roger dying in horrible ways. I think a lot of that is compatible with that format, but I don't know that I want that. I don't know if that's the one.
Some of the stuff that you shared when you updated the virtual broom closet last year, some of the stuff that you kind of, when you pieced it together, I looked at it and I was like, you know what, that would probably be a 3.5 out of 5 a platformer that you would buy 6 months later for $20.
Yeah, which is literally 75% of the original Xbox lineup.
Yeah,
so exactly. I mean, that fits beautifully. Yeah, I mean, that's not the worst idea I've ever heard to reboot a series. But I was thinking about this, and it's probably no surprise as a Sierra head, I kept coming back to these. I mean, we've already had. I mean, gosh, do we think of the Sam and Max Telltale games? Is that reboot? Is that legacy sequel? I was
wondering if those are legacy sequels, or I'm gonna say that those are probably legacy sequels, though
closer to
it. The gap between those is not actually that long if we think about.
Not as long as it seems.
Yeah,
no,
because
but
it's well,
Mhm.
let's see. Sam and Max Hit the Road comes out when? 93?
Yeah.
And that can't, like, what, 10 years later? 2003? No, not 2003, 2006, right?
Mhm.
I'm doing all this from
I think
memory.
so. Yeah, I think that's right.
So
That sounds right.
13 years
Yeah,
is
that's
pretty
nothing.
long, but
That's nothing. Yeah.
but
But it's still in the grand scheme of things. No, I mean,
they they bring in Flint in the second season,
mhm.
like Flint Paper,
Yeah.
and there's like very light references, but I think also like
Mhm.
there I think for all intents and purposes, I'm going to say that they're reboots, and here's why. Because it's a different type of game. An episodic adventure game done in a completely different like style.
Mhm.
Like the puzzling is very different. The look is completely different. The voices are completely different. And you could say, like, well, like the voices in some adventure games, change and graphics
Yeah.
change and so on. It's like, are you going to say that, Quest for Glory 5 is a reboot over Quest for Glory 1? No.
Yes.
But I think that the Telltale Sam and Max games are different enough that they're essentially a reboot. They are they're 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 very different.
Yeah. No, so like, yeah, again, I don't know. Is there a Lucas Arts series I want to read? But I kept coming back to Sierra stuff because Sierra is, of course, my 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 jam. You know, is there a way to reboot Police Quest? Probably not tastefully. I don't think we need to go down there.
We had our
I think
chance. We had
yeah,
our
I know.
chance.
I know
Jim Walls
Precinct
had a
could have happened.
Kickstarter.
Spiritual successor. Yeah. I think that maybe if there's a
That
Sierra
would have been
series,
really something.
it would have really been. Yeah, it would have given us so
And
much
then we would have had one more
content.
episode with Grayson.
I
Anyway,
know, before he can never appear again.
Yeah.
I think Laura Bow is a
Laura Bow
Sierra
I also
property
wrote down. I
that
think
works beautifully for the modern era. I
Yep.
feel like in some ways she fits with adventure game sensibilities
Yep.
today even better than she did when her games came out. And of course there's this game, the Mechanical Codex, that's kind of been floating around out there as a possible Laura Bow reboot for a number of years now. I don't know if work is still happening on that. I'm still even completely sure what if that license is fully secured or what that game's
like the
all
Crimson
about.
Diamond, which
That's
we
right. Yeah,
spoke
which
about extensively last week.
yeah, the one that I came back to though that I think could really thrive in the modern world, I think a reboot of Quest for Glory today has
I almost wrote Quest for Glory.
so much potential. I think a cozy but dangerous RPG adventure. And maybe, in this modern era, you could really ramp up that blending of the genres a little bit more. Maybe there could be a little bit more of the RPG element. But if you could get that cozy, funny vibe of Quest for Glory, but with the idea that there's stakes at play, and then you can blend in some class-based solutions and some neat things like that, I feel like a modern Quest for Glory game could be the sort of thing that could actually meaningfully cross over and find an audience today if you did it right.
You know what I would say is that I think that because I thought about this, I almost wrote, as I said, I almost wrote Quest for Glory. I think the thing is that if you rebooted Quest for Glory, it would get the math wrong. And that's why I didn't, because I think that Quest for Glory is much more, and I mean later on in the series almost entirely, like much more an adventure game with like
Yes.
enough of an interesting dash
Yeah.
of RPG.
It's an adventure game with some numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Be very
like,
tempting to go the other way.
if you were to bring back Quest for Glory, I would want it to still kind of exist
Mhm.
within that paradigm. Like
Mhm.
I would want it to be more adventure focused because it's like we have a lot of great RPGs and great RPGs with really rich narratives
Mhm.
and all of that. And so it's like I would want to make sure that it would be more on the adventure side of the house than the
Yes.
RPG. Like it's because I think that type of mixture is like in the specific like how many parts of adventure to how many parts of RPG is a really key part of what makes those games successful.
No, absolutely. No, I think you're definitely right on that. No, I mean, I think it's a delicate balance, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought some. I mean, like Gabriel Knight as a visual novel, series nowadays. I think there's potential to rethink genres like that. But what did you have for a reboot?
Well,
What
so
game
uh
series are you restarting?
so I had well I as I said, I had Laura Bow down because I think Laura
Hmm.
Bow has some good potential. Um I also I wrote down here uh I think Uh, and I mean, I don't know if you'd call this a reboot or not, again, but I think Discworld is rich.
Oh,
And so I say reboot, which is to say like, you know, just don't even think about the previous three
yeah.
games.
Just
Like if
start
you
making
want
Discworld games again.
yeah, if you want to do like
Mm.
Rincewind, it's not like you could even do the guards plot like with
Yeah,
Rincewind again and just make a totally different game. Like Discworld is such a rich uh
yeah.
like it's such a rich world uh like rich fantasy
And there's so
and I've
much to draw on compared to the last time we made a Discworld
yeah.
game. Like, I mean, it is such a rich world to pick and choose stories and characters and other elements from. I mean, you could really do some neat stuff with that.
And like I've been slowly rereading like I'm like some of the Discworld books. And I'm and it just strikes me all the more of just like how big it is and how detailed it is and all the different directions that you could possibly go with it. The only problem with it is it's like a lot of people just get fucking Discworld wrong.
Yes, I mean it's not
And
easy.
that's
Yeah, I mean
the like
like every adaptation of it ever.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, could I ask you though
A
to
fucking
stop the
awful
presses?
watch show that I didn't watch.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Can we?
they should have called that show "Don't Watch."
It's
I
not
didn't
the
watch
night
it.
watch, it's not watch.
Yeah.
Hey Ben, 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 Ben, I got a big one. Ben, I got you. I,
Yes.
Ankh Morpork City Builder.
Yeah. See, that would be great. That would be great. I
Oh my
think.
god.
I bet
I
the
mean, it
witches.
ended up being like Afterlife, and it would be like a terrible mess of a game that sounds great in concept,
Yeah.
but I'd like to imagine an Ankh Morpork City Builder.
I bet the witches would be really fun to do an
Yeah.
adventure game with because they live in one of the more traditional adventure game settings, like this remote like kind of like top of the mountain, small
Mm-hmm.
villages. There's like a small kind of podunk kingdom that they work in, and they do like weird magic that is kind of limited in certain ways. Like I think there's a lot of adventure game potential to the
Mm-hmm.
witches, but I think there's all sorts like I think I think there's a lot of potential for Discworld in so many ways
Yeah.
in games but like in adventure games like so yeah I think that would be like a reboot and then the last one I put down is Tex Murphy. Let's reboot Tex Murphy. Let's
Again.
because yeah, because I mean, kind of Tex Murphy was itself kind of a reboot, kind of,
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
and
It's a
then
reboot that's been legacy
and
sequeled
then it had a
that now
legacy
is ready for a
sequel,
reboot.
and
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
Tex Murphy is a good early example of a reboot. Like, yeah, I mean, when you get Under a Killing Moon, it is a complete reboot of like the Mean Streets version of Tex Murphy that had existed before.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, there are continuity elements in place, but I mean, now it's
Yeah.
basically a new genre. The character changes dramatically to really play up the noir detective tropes and everything else. I mean, it's a pretty big shift.
Yeah, I just think that there's a lot of like, I think, we were talking about mystery games last week, and we were talking about Laura Bow, and that's the other one, one of the other ones I had on this list here, is that I think that there's a lot of fun to be had. I think there's still fun to be had, and I think people would still have fun. Like, mystery games are popular right
They
now.
are.
They're having a moment, and doing one with like this kind of Blade Runner pastiche noir
Yes.
thing, I think I think it's still kind of a interesting and fun setting, and you could probably find a way to, like, I think there are multiple routes to, in the 2020s, to like kind of honor its FMV roots, from either just making it a straight FMV game,
Mm-hmm.
or like having like some kind of video element to it, or I think there are different ways you could handle it. I think the most important thing is maintaining the charm of it, and I think, yeah, I think it's, I think we could reboot Tex Murphy. I think there's a lot of potential in that world, and revisiting it, but just starting over.
Yeah, that's right. I think, I mean, at this point, I know Tesla Effect at this point is, I guess going on, it's got to be 10, 12, 13 years by now. Like, I mean, it's not a new game by any stretch.
2014.
Yeah. So it's not a new game by any stretch of the imagination.
And
And I don't
like,
know if you're going to reach again that new audience. I think, like rather than thinking another legacy sequel, a reboot could be fine. But they're also working on remasters right now, I suppose, too. So that's one that I guess there's stuff happening with. But no, I think that's a great pick. Again, I feel like you said, I think mysteries have some appeal. I think there's a lot of appeal in mysteries for adventures. I think there's appeal in cozy games. I think there's appeal with scary horror type games with adventures right now. And I mean, which is why I'm getting ready to say we have to reboot Phantasmagoria. No, I can't even make that case with a straight face. I don't know. I mean, a horror anthology series, a FMV genuinely scary, well done one would be wonderful, but I don't know if Phantasmagoria is the property you start with there. We need to retell the story of Adrian and
Dawn.
what was Dawn. That's right. I'm
amazed that I was able to pull that too.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly.
I know. We have to do a Phantasmagoria episode someday, or have we already?
Maybe.
It's hard to say. It's impossible to say.
I think we might have.
It might have been one of our patrons only episodes.
Yeah,
we've
either
recorded
you
like
listened
30
to
of
it,
those
or
now.
it was
Yeah.
a patrons only.
Let's see.
Fantastic. No, we didn't. How?
Wow. Who knew?
Oh, wait. Hold on. There was still more. No, we did. We did. We even had
good.
Grayson. You did the 6 months ago.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
6 months ago. Oh, God. It wasn't even one of our early ones.
No.
Oh, no.
No, we did this past October.
Do you think it was really good?
Oh, I think it was great.
It was. First of all, Grayson, thank you for coming in. Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. How about retrospectives, Ben?
Right.
If you're going to put together one of these archival museum style presentations, what series or game do you think deserves this?
Oh, I've got an easy one. This was when
I think I do too, probably.
So you actually kind of mentioned this earlier, kind of when we were talking about this, but I want I want this done in the Digital Eclipse style, which is I want a Infocom retrospective bundle, because here's the thing. I don't even think it would. I don't even think that the assets for it would, like, Infocom is such a documented
Hmm.
company, and there's already a documentary about it. There's
Yes.
Jason Scott's Get Lamp, which
Yes.
isn't. I don't like. I think that kind of broadly. It's been a long time since I watched it, but I think it in some ways also is just kind of broadly about like text adventures, but it
Hmm.
has a lot of Infocom
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. If you're going to be about text
and
adventures, Infocom's going to figure prominently.
and you could not only draw on that, but again, if I recall correctly, there was an enormous amount of additional footage, most of which I believe he's put up on archive.org.
Hmm.
Again, I'm working from memory here. It's been a long time since I watched that documentary, but like it's like you already have that.
Yeah.
And so like you have that. A lot of those guys are still around.
Hmm.
And so like maybe record some other stuff. But I also know that like it's a pretty well documented and like like the rise and fall of Infocom, the Al Veza, who was I believe like one of the guys in charge, spending an enormous amount of the company resources on a doomed database program.
Yes.
Like it has such an interesting story.
It has,
Um
yeah, a narrative built
and
into it already, which, yeah, that's fascinating. Like looking at their attempts to figure out what they're going to do as the market for purely text adventures go away. I mean, there's a fascinating story to look at their final years of output
yeah,
and all the different ways they tried to rethink what was going on there. You know, I know that when the Infocom games came out, like on mobile devices years and years ago when
yes,
they
and
hit the App
I
Store originally. I know that they had some things like recreating the Phillies
yep,
as like 3D
yeah,
models that you could. I mean, in
and
the
it
absence of
was
being able to ship a
lost.
physical version of it, you know.
That I had that. It was
Hmm.
like I forget what it was called, but there was an Infocom collection on iOS, and it had all the Invisi clues, and it
Yeah.
had the feelies rendered in 3D.
Hmm.
And when um iOS did the 64-bit
Yep.
transition, it
It
was
was
just
one of those.
one of
Yeah.
those things that they didn't it was like Activision didn't update it, and it was just gone forever.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah. No, that's a shame.
but so here's the thing that I really like about the Digital Eclipse retrospectives, and why I think the Infocom like catalog, or
Hmm.
essentially all of it minus Hitchhiker's Guide and Norton Burt, which are the two that never show up. Also, I guess Shogun is not going to show up in there, but
Yeah. Probably not.
no one wants Shogun. Like the show they if you're unfamiliar with the Infocom Shogun game, which is based on the same book that Hulu series everybody liked, right?
Hmm.
Was that a
Yes.
Hulu
Yeah,
series?
was it Hulu or HBO?
Or
I can't
HBO?
remember.
I didn't watch it. I heard it was
It
great.
was wonderful. It was really
Um,
good. Yeah.
but anyway, that was like a late, like licensed adaptation that I hear was not very good. But uh, what I like about those retrospectives is the amount of historical context that they provide gives helps create a, at least in me, a better appreciation of the games you're playing, because it's kind of hard. Like it's not very difficult these days to get every single NES game that was ever made,
Hmm.
or every single like, or almost every arcade cabinet or whatever. Like you can do all that. You can stick it on a micro SD, and you could just put it on. You can play it on your phone, like, or
Yeah.
you can play it on your Steam Deck or whatever. It really doesn't. It's not that hard. And I think an experience that a lot of people have, I certainly have. It's like, holy shit, I've got every NES game. If I was When I was 6, this was my dream.
Yes.
Um, and then you play each game for like 5 minutes and go like, oh, okay, well that's that, and then you're done. And like sometimes you might even do that with like, I mean, the NES has an enormous amount of garbage on it, as does most, stuff.
Yeah, every platform.
But like, even if you're playing like, something that is like the best of the best, if you're playing like Mega Man or something like that, you
Hmm.
still might be like play it for like 10, 15 minutes and go like, all right,
Yeah,
well, that I that's cute. Um, what's great about the digital eclipse things is if you get all of the context leading up to, it's like, here's why this game is important,
hmm,
here's what the designers were thinking, here's why critics at the time thought this was incredible. It kind of refigures your brain so you can be like, oh, I understand why, like, now I finally understand this weird NES game or this weird arcade game or
that's right.
whatever.
It sort of shifts your position as the player toward maybe less looking for a game experience that maybe just doesn't exist anymore. Like it's hard to have the 1987 Mega Man experience in 2026, but it shifts your mind toward, I think, appreciation instead, really getting a broader context. I mean, I think what these collections always do a good job with for me is like we intellectually know that these games are being made by human beings, and they're being made also within the context of a business that has to turn a profit and has to keep the lights on and things like that. And I think that these collections do a good job of framing how all this creative intent, all this human effort, and then all this broader, sort of financial and economic element of it come together into something that it gives you a little bit more of a zoomed out view of where these games fit into a bigger story. And I think that
Yeah.
and Infocom's perfect for that. Yeah, I mean, I think you can do neat stuff with that. One of my picks, I started out thinking, that a King's Quest for a lot of the
King's
same
Quest
reasons, a
is like
King's
the
Quest
obvious
collection.
one.
But
King's
then
Quest
it's
would be
like,
great.
I thought maybe more so like a Roberta Williams
Well, that
collection would be much better. I know we've had an anthology already,
yeah,
a
that
Roberta
did come
Williams
out.
anthology,
Yeah.
but a proper one that goes all the way back to Mystery House and works its way forward, I think could be incredibly neat, especially for people, like that
Her
era
place in
of,
history is, I think, I think it would really help kind of contextualize it for a lot of people that might not necessarily know that, like, you know uh like, just kind of how important a lot of her
yeah,
contributions to video
that's right.
games
That
were.
she's not just an important early woman in video game development, but just what a hugely influential and
Yeah.
innovative figure she was. And I think also giving people a peek back into, a world of we are selling software by putting diskettes into Ziploc
Oh
bags at
yeah.
our kitchen table and mailing them ourselves out to people. I think that part of the story is probably hard to imagine for a lot of younger gamers who haven't heard it before. I think for a lot of people, you'd probably be encountering that for the first time. I think that she's someone who deserves to be spoken about in the same kind of reverent tones we reserve for some of the most important game developers the industry's ever seen. And I'm not sure that maybe younger generations fully appreciate what a contribution that she made along the way.
Or even older generations, because I feel
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
certainly
that's yeah.
there was like, I think, kind of, right, and you still see it from time to time, like, the but like in that interim period
Yeah.
in like the early 2000s, when there was kind of a fallow period for a lot of adventure games, like Sierra's not making them. It did feel like it was very much in vogue to kind of dismiss her like as a designer and in her place, and here's the thing. It's like I understand all these criticisms of like
Yeah,
design flaws of her games. I like, like I understand all of that. I still think that the impact that she had on games is absolutely undeniable. I
yeah,
don't even care. Like
yeah. I mean, she shipped more hit games than like John Romero. Like, I think that numerically is true, right?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, in
and genre defining in much the same way he was, you know?
like I mean, I'm sure Doom sold more than all
Maybe a
of
couple more
King's
copies.
Quest.
Maybe a couple more copies. Yeah, I mean,
like
but
I mean, we might be thinking about Daikatana and like, kidding old
yeah,
John, but
that's right. I mean, he does have a couple of
I
big
mean,
ones there. I
Doom
mean,
is
Wolfenstein's no
one of the
slouch.
most important games also. Let's not
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm just saying that she is in, I think, legitimately the same conversation as people like
Mhm.
John Romero in terms of her impact on the industry, even
Yeah,
if the
yeah,
sales
for sure,
numbers
for
are
sure.
going to go pale in comparison. I mean, she is one of those above the title kind of designers. And yeah, I think that a proper retrospective could really do a great job of telling that story and helping people understand. We've I think a lot of people have heard her name, but really appreciate exactly what she brought to the table.
And then then you'd have a version of The Wizard and the Princess, which wouldn't crash on you.
Oh man, I'm still mad at the
I
Wizard and the
remember
Princess.
watching that was during 2020, I seem to recall.
Was that early?
I
Was
think it
that
is. I think it is. You were streaming for those of you who weren't watching Jess 6 years ago.
yeah,
Um
weird, first of all.
I I like because I remember my recollection of maybe it was in early 2021. So you could look at I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah, I could
you
get the
could
answer to this, but I like
um
flailing around more.
but I my recollection of watching you play Wizard and the Princess is connected with a feeling of being stuck in the house. And so that's why I'm like, oh, it's probably
Yes.
2020, maybe early 21.
Yeah,
Like,
it's gonna be June 21. Is so a
okay,
little bit further down, but still.
okay.
Still.
Yeah, no, I was probably leaving the house a lot more then.
Yeah, but we were all still
It was
literally
weird. It
insane.
was
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was it was it was a weird time.
yeah. And this
Fortunately,
game,
things have gotten
like,
much
how many
better.
streams, how many times did I attempt to stream this before I was finally able? Like, I think I tried like 4 times before I ever got a playthrough on a platform and an emulator that didn't crash out on me. And I mean, by the time I was done, I have to say, not my favorite game. But I
No,
mean,
but when you play Time Zone, you'll
all
really
those
come
screens,
around.
all those screens in Time Zone. Yeah, I mean, it. But I mean, Wizard and the Princess is a great example. I mean, the fact that it establishes lore that later becomes a big part of King's Quest V and some things like that. It's part of an interesting story about how she, you know, grew as a designer and how her early works continued to inspire what she did down the road. The story of how you get from Mystery House to Colonel's Bequest,
Hmm.
I think is a fascinating one to be told, and a collection like that could draw those connections.
Yeah. And you just stick the hints in there, and it's like you could
Yeah,
also just put a full gameplay video of it in there too. Like if you just are like, all right, well, fuck this.
and
Like,
actually, if anyone wants to make this, you're welcome to have my gameplay video of
oh yeah,
Wizard and the
yeah, that would be
Princess to put in.
great.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good, and I was great at streaming early on like that, so it'd be high quality content. But no, that's the one that popped up for me. There are others. Yeah, I know that you know we've talked before. Mist isn't really either of our things, but I think there is a wealth of
Oh yeah,
documentary stuff and behind the scenes stuff and
yeah.
concept art and everything. I mean, Mist is probably the kind of game that you could easily create one of these collections out of. And I would look at it in Steam and think it's like, boy, that's going to make
And you
a
could
lot of people who aren't me really happy.
put like the manhole in there and some like
Hmm.
was it like Cosmic Cosmo, or like you can put some of those like
Yeah.
early CN hypercard games in there,
Yeah. Yeah.
like to kind of not only add a little to it because it's like, Myst has been released a million times. But also like, just be like, all right, well, they were the brothers were kind of playing around with these ideas. But yeah.
Ben, can I ask you a bonus round that we didn't talk about beforehand?
All right.
Is there a game that you would, or a series that you would choose a legacy sequel to? We're not rebooting it. We're not remaking it. We're just like, what if you just gave me one more of these in the modern era? Your Return to Monkey Island style. This is your legacy sequel.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a reboot. That's a clear
No,
legacy
that's a
sequel.
straight up legacy sequel.
Well, is there anything? And I can tell you one that I picked as you're thinking about this, since I'm posing the question. I think a Loom.
Damn it! I actually wrote that down. I had that written down.
Made with 2026 sort of sensibilities. Like, I feel like in a lot of ways that game feels so much more at home today.
Yeah.
Than it did at the time it was released. I feel like it is a game made for the modern era that just happened to come out a few decades too early.
Loom, obviously, we should have had more Looms.
Yeah, we really lost out.
This is a note that I had written down, which was, like for remasters, remasters, reboots. I wrote Loom with the potential of continuation.
Yeah.
Just do a remake of Loom and then make a sequel.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of potential for Loom. I want to find out what happens next. Brian Moriarty. What happens next?
Lucasfilm's Brian Moriarty.
But yeah, I mean, Loom is the main one that I really like, because it ends on like kind of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like, what happens? Yeah. I don't know. Pepper's Adventures in Time.
Where else?
That also ends on a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She comes back to the present and her entire family's dead. She has to solve the time murder.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Throw her back in time and she has to save Kennedy.
Yeah. And like the joke is, there's just like a giant line of other time travelers there to do the same thing. And she like the whole puzzle is like, how do you make sure you're the one? And then there are all the time travelers that are there to make sure the assassination still happens.
Well, yeah, and Spock's there to kill Kennedy.
Spock's there, and Gene Roddenberry's there because he just wants to see if this script is getting made.
All right, well, I think that takes us all the way. All right, thank you so much for listening to another great episode of Quest, the Adventure Game Podcast. I've been Ben. I'm joined as always by
Jess. We didn't introduce ourselves. Gosh, I'm Decaf Jedi on Twitch, where I stream video games.
Well, we were all so enamored of the song that I already had prepared.
You were burrito brained, and
you were burrito brained, and I was pasta brained. We were beef brained. Brain is real. Please use beef brain protection. It's hard to say beef brain.
Beef brain.
We've done a hypnospace episode, right?
1000%.
Yeah, we must.
I'm gonna put that at like a high level.
That's an early one. But yes, we did do a hypnospace outlaw. That was some time ago. Anyway, be sure to rate and review. 5 stars. You can send us an email at questquestpodcast@gmail.com.
And this is a great one. We would love to hear games that you would like to see remade, rebooted, or given that retrospective treatment. I feel like probably there's some great ideas that we haven't thought of. If you're wanting the Operation Stealth remake, now is your time to let us know. The Capstone Games retrospective.
Yeah, we want to find out what happens with the fucking Wayne's World.
Yeah, it's gonna be great when they find out none of the creators are willing to go on record. It's like, I don't really want to talk about
they're all
that
mysteriously dead.
Killed by the same time murderer that got Pepper's family.
Yeah, they were all time murdered. Oh man. I mean, think about it. Just think about it.
I mean, put the pieces together. Follow the money.
It's been a while since we listened to this.
Yeah, and I mean, now that I'm hearing it again, it's not that bad.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it's hard to imagine that we made fun of this. We were really hard on it.
Yeah. I mean, that was a little
this is
slidey, but I mean,
yeah, it's cute.
That's probably emulation. That's just probably an emulation issue.
Yeah. Ad-lib had, just kind of funny sounds, but it's fine.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, it's...
Yeah. All right, this is good so far.
I bet if you went back and listened to every time we've listened to this song, that was the note that always finally gets me.
And then my little recording of this, which has a Discord notification sound that I've never bothered to re-record.
Well, that makes it even better. That makes it even better.
Yeah. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. No, I thought the same thing. I was like, I got a message from one of my close friends on Discord. You can join our Discord, link in the show notes.
Great. All right. We're done. Join us. Join us next week when we discuss Quest for Glory. Wait, no, we're not. Actually, hold on. Let me double check my papers here. We're not talking about Quest for Glory 4.
Oh, wow. I thought it was Shadows of Darkness next week.
No, we're not talking about Shadows of Darkness. We're not.
Oh.
We're talking about Space Quest 4. So, Jess, I've got a question for you. Do you think that Roger's hair and outfit just got bleached from exposure to sunlight? Because he's brown hair in 1, 2, 3, but then he's a blonde in 4, 5, and 6.
I think this is probably just classic time travel stuff, Ben. I'm guessing that so many people went back in time and slept with so many mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers and everything else like that, and tailors and clothing dye manufacturers and everything else. By the time you're done, it's a miracle that Roger was even recognizable.